Now started.
Excellent.
There we go.
All right. Today, who's here? Jerry Narkowitz, Pendergast,
Provost.
Josh Chase.
all good. We have a quorum. Evacuation, obviously, you're out that door. This door is blocked,
Correct.
so we can't get out that way. So we got this door to get out and that door to get out. So we have two forms of egress. The minutes, did you print the minutes?
Yes.
So there we are.
I had no changes.
Yep, I had no
See them.
changes either. I looked at it. So we're good on the minutes?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right.
Can we have a vote on that?
Sure.
Sure.
Make a motion to approve the minutes. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Organizational items, that's from last time. Let's see, do we have anything for organizational items? Anybody got anything? Old business, Lake Tiogue testing. We are still waiting on the results. We are starting our process of beginning testing again very shortly. So that should be off and going. The lake depth is high enough for trout stocking. So those are good things on water testing. They allow me to do water testing and grant applications and opportunities.
Remember, we had discussed that last time. I brought some stuff to the table, but we also talked about how we should be first talking with other members of the town council before we take any further action.
Okay. I spoke to Maria
Mhm.
yesterday, Maria Broad
Right,
Bent.
Yep.
And Maria said, yeah, you can look through grants. And that's maybe something you could do at times. There are lots of grants out there that some of them take a lot of work to put together. Some of them are pretty quick to put together, and it depends what kind of grant you want to get. And I said, okay, we're sort of fumbling for what we should be doing as a group. So we're thinking that might be something that we could work on together. And maybe pick a grant and write the grant here when we sit here. So we could do something like that. Josh, do you think there's any kind of problem with doing that?
No, I don't think there's any problem with that. I actually do have an item that is closely related to
Okay.
this. I wasn't sure if it should be new business. But it was brought to me by Doug, and it was the suggestion that because we have a lot of development around the center of New England, the planning department can look at stormwater project by project. Is there a grant out there? And if there is it something that the CONSCOM would want to do to look at it holistically? In kind of direct relation to the center of New England Dam and the Little Tiogue Lake Culvert.
Yep.
And also general stormwater and general water quality. This actually may be a good tie-in with the Lake Tiogue management plan. And you know, that idea came up. The Little Tiogue culvert is in the municipal vulnerability plan.
Oh, yeah.
So looking for grants that involve those items are are the suggestion that I have received. I assume, given the conversations that we've all had here, that would be something that you guys would be quite interested in.
SNAP grant is due April 18th, and the information session is March 21st.
Where's it being held?
It's virtual,
Oh, it's virtual.
You said it was due the 18th?
April 18th. Up to $500,000. We have lots of experience with SNAP grants and lots of reusable material. We would just need a scope. So is it all of the center of New England? Is it sections of what? So I actually, I did a little bit of thinking about this. Is since there's so much future development going on Arnold.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility to put in storm control measures into Tiogue at the drainage sites off of Arnold because of that?
What do you mean by drainage controls?
So, drainage control, probably, stormwater control measures at the storm drains.
Yep.
Where that water would come off of the development. Because it's gonna end up on Arnold Road, right? And then from Arnold Road, it's gonna hit the storm drains.
Mhm.
Which ones go into Tiogue Lake? Would those be candidates for stormwater control measures? This way, what we're doing is we're collecting that water before it gets into Tiogue.
Yeah.
So wherever if we're gonna ask for a grant, what's the scope?
Right.
Would we do an area like that, which is pretty controlled? Would we work with the team at Center of New England and devise something around that? But
Well-
whatever it is, we'd have to figure out the scope and we'd have to do it fairly quickly. We've got
Yeah.
about a month.
Yeah.
To put the grant together. About 80% of the grant is boilerplate. We've done it before.
Mhm.
The only thing that's different would be the scope.
Would this be something that Maria would help us with?
Absolutely.
I think so.
I haven't talked to her about this
Mm.
particular one, but she helped on the last one.
Yeah.
That we actually won. Combination Town and Upper Dam Pond to do the first,
Right.
and we won $87,000 for that. So we understand the mechanism of SNAP.
Yeah.
We have some good EPA
Yep.
networking. We have some third-party consulting support if we wanted to put out a little money from an environmental perspective.
Mhm.
So we've got all the players and we have the experience to do the SNAP grant.
Yeah.
We just need a scope. Center of New England sounds promising, but it sounds really big. So I don't know.
Huge.
Yeah,
Mm.
so we're not gonna get the whole thing in one basket. Maybe there's some pieces we could,
Mm.
shave off in the meantime to be able to do
Yeah,
that.
there's some very easy ways to mitigate some of the stormwater problems associated with developments like that. Same as the 666 Arnold Road development that has very easy mechanisms of developing a control there. I don't know, one of the issues that I think you can find is that the developer may not want to be handcuffed by any kind of requirement that he's not going to be responsible for.
And that's where the beauty lies, is that we could put stormwater controls in despite them,
Right. Spike them. Or we could make it part of their requirement,
right?
which is the really good way to go. Have a good night.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, it's okay.
Good night.
Yeah. So. That for sure, is I'm gonna be out of town next month, so I'm not gonna be here. I'm leaving on, the very beginning of April, and I'm not coming back till the end. So. I'm not gonna be able to help as much, though I can help online. I'm gonna be available just like you were when you were
Yep.
in California. So. It sounds feasible. It sounds like we're against a rock and a hard place time wise. You know, the 21st for the meeting and the thing coming available depends on your thing, you're working. And how much
Yeah, it gives
Maria,
us what, about 6 weeks?
Yeah.
So,
how much Maria
Like
can
if-
help. And
Maria's bogged,
I know she is.
you know,
She's
bogged
got
down, so
so
she's
much
got,
stuff.
especially with
I
that.
was
school
appreciative that
stuff.
she sat with me and we spent an hour yesterday. Okay. So
So let me ask
how do we
another
put the
question.
ball, how
Are
do we
the,
get the ball going?
are these two separate issues that we're talking about here? Are we talking about getting a grant for some work that
Yeah.
there has to be scope for?
Right.
Is there a different thing that we should be talking about? And that's how do we connect this group with the planning of Center New England?
You don't mean the planning department here, you mean the planning of the engineer and the planners that are working on that development?
I don't know if they're two different things or if they're independent. Somehow they don't feel independent to me.
I think they are, I think they are independent. I think the developer would consider his like, here it is. And then the planning department would.
Here, this
Here,
planning
this
department,
would approve, disapprove, make changes, make adjustments, have additional requirements. And then that developer would go back and modify or say, no, I'm not doing that. I remember doing one of these things for Cumberland Farms up at the intersection of Arnold Road. I was like, you know, these are bad traffic flows going in and out of this thing. There's better solutions. And they said, we don't care what you say. We're doing it this way. And the planning department here said, yeah, they're gonna do it that way. Doesn't violate any rules. It may not be the best input and output, but that was what and that was from the Conservation Commission. I remember it. I remember thinking to myself, this is odd. Odd feeling. So
so the beauty of the STEP grant is that we don't need
have a good night.
hey Doug, we don't need a 30% design.
Yep.
To start, to get the grant.
Right. So. Can I put you looking into that with Maria and see if you can get the ball rolling, and I'll try my best from a distance to help you out.
Yeah, I think with the guise of we're a commission looking for work.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So we're looking for work here.
And
And this
and
is
even
an
if this
opportunity
were
to,
not to come through for whatever reason, we would develop the expertise on how to do this in the future too, which is really important to me. So great. All right. 5.3 recreational activities. Holy.
How many police calls?
Hmm?
How many police calls?
None yet. All right, we're gonna see what tomorrow brings, you know, tomorrow meeting, June.
Sure.
So there's some motion on Lake Tiogue for some modifications to the parking lot and various signage and everything, and Maria's working on that. She has a grant approved and they're working on facilitating it and trying to get it going before the season begins. Johnson's Pond. I don't know how to discuss that one. It's, supposedly before the council last night was, let's see, let me get this. Let's see. Pump station, let's see. Briar Point, so Briar Point has a point water quality project, stormwater quality. Upper Dam Pond has also one. And there's nothing listed in her list except that we've now, we're now doing, weed treatment on Johnson's Pond. The town is paying for weed treatment on, primarily on Johnson's Pond. Most money's getting spent there.
I did have a conversation with Mark
Yep,
today.
Yep,
That $35,000, I think he said on 77 acres.
Yep.
He's also using the state Senate grant.
Yep.
Separate,
right,
because that has to be used by the end of June.
right,
And then the third is the private
right, they're private inputs
investment, if you will,
Yeah.
into the lake. So there's three prongs to that.
to their treatment, yeah. So we're all getting money to do weed treatment, and you can, the town should thank you, me, people who spoke up when it was just gonna be for Johnson's Pond.
Hmm.
And that way, the rest of the lakes that are affected get some treatment. So hopefully that treatment is used adequately. And so off we'll go on that. I wish I could tell you more about
I
it.
did attend the last development meeting for Johnson's Pond, and that meeting lasted about 15 minutes.
Oh,
It was the approval of the contract for the next phase
Yep.
of public access.
Yeah. do they know where public access is gonna be?
No, they still, at least they didn't make that known in that 15-minute meeting, but they did approve the contract. So that was the only thing they did.
Okay. Let's hope that all comes together. Sewer development plans for Lake Tiogue. I have two options that have been presented. One involves a pump station. I'll pass these around, and the other with low pressure gravity pump station, a combination of all three. And they all funnel across the down Arnold Road towards Route 3. So they all go that direction. And they serve all of this section, which is flooding into Lake Tiogue with sewage outfall, really. And so we are group 8 and 9 on, make sure I got that straight. Let's see, we are groups 8 and 9 on Maria's hit list of places to work on the sewers. The only one that's ahead of us is the emergency that's occurring at the high school. And it is truly an emergency. It is really a mess. Whether it's common knowledge, the town of Coventry bought a sewage pumping truck. And every day they pump out water that school's in session, about 1,200 gallons a day they pump out. And that is taken to the sewage treatment plant. I don't know if it's in Warwick or East Greenwich. I don't know where they take it. But right now, that's what's going on, and they're in the middle. And according to Maria last night, she said there's 30 different agencies that we are involved with to get this septic system approved.
Are they doing septic? for that? Sorry. yeah.
Sewer line
Gotcha.
approved. So it's a big one. It's a big one, and I don't know the price tag, but it's extensive.
Was the high school hooked up before, or?
Septic, believe it or not, and it's been out of operation, it's been out of service for 10 or 15 years. So it's just been sitting there kind of stewing. And it's hard to imagine, but, you know, like Maria said,
Well, I can imagine the smell. I've been to a couple of streets.
Right.
It's in my town.
so.
Oh.
Don't know what will happen with that. Stormwater management, Upper Dam Pond,
Just waiting for the release of the funding.
I'm gonna look at this. Josh, I don't know if you've seen these two plans.
I may have.
They're similar.
Mhm.
One requires a
Oh, yeah.
pump station
Pump station, yeah.
in Briar Point. There's a location set aside for that. And some still requires low pressure with the, you know what the E1 pump is, Josh?
No, not off the top of my head.
They're so let's see how best to describe it. Think about a big milk can.
Mhm.
Underneath the ground, holds about, so. About 20 gallons, 120 gallons, 100 gallons. And so, and it has a high and a low switch. And it pumps out through 1.5 inch and low pressure, hits the other lines, and it just kind of all feeds along in a low pressure system, pushing the waste product up the thing. So it's got a grinder on the bottom,
Mhm.
almost like a garbage disposal you'd have in your house.
Yep.
And it grinds it up and pumps it out, and they're pretty dependable. The primary one that's available is an E1,
Mhm.
Environment One. It's a good pump. There is another one available also, but the Environment One is the primary user. So if you go down somebody's yard that has one, you'll see a cap that's maybe, I don't know, 2.5, 3 foot in diameter. And it's usually green and it sticks out of the ground about this far. It's hooked
Okay.
up to 220 volt. And the switches are set so that if you did lose power and you were at the top, an alarm goes off. And hopefully you stop using your water. But otherwise it becomes a real mess.
Mhm.
So anyways, the pump station will service a lot of it, but not all of it. Okay. And most people on the lake are hopeful, even though they won't like paying the $15,000 assessment.
Yeah.
But it makes your house better, and it also, for especially the ones that are cesspools, to be removed.
Mhm.
But do you all know how it works in the town of Coventry? You have your house and you're not selling your house. The line comes by, you do not have to attach. But if you sell your house, you have to attach.
I believe it's within 1 year.
Yeah, there's a caveat there. It's very confusing, but the way it is. Forest management plan?
So, couple things. One, guys read the reminder.
What's that?
You guys read the reminder.
I do sometimes.
It's coincidentally, like, what is it? Last week they had an article about talking about California's fires, but in the context of New England, because we are approaching the dry before we get all the spring rain and all the leaves come out.
Yeah.
But it's warm enough now. It's actually been warm, which is nice.
Yeah.
But also means that we're in a fire season potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know if you the weather stations have been putting out alerts and whatnot. And in that context, like New England, we don't think of huge wildfires, but we've had a couple this last summer. There was what was it, 500 acres near URI at one point.
Mhm.
So
An accident.
I don't know the status off the top of my head, since I don't work for Coventry's forestry. What the current management is like for Coventry's forests, or if there even is any like town level plan for that, because I know that, was it Coventry that had one this last summer, or was it slightly more north? I don't remember. There's one somewhat near here, small wildfire.
I know there was one in, Exeter,
That might be the one I'm thinking of, yeah, Exeter.
I know that. Of course, this last weekend or week in New York City or New York, Long Island, that was a bad one. So,
So they're close, that's the problem, and I don't know what the current
I don't know either.
planning.
Yeah, to my knowledge, there kind of isn't
Mhm.
any, you know, the closest thing I can imagine is, cutting up, a tree that fell across a trail,
Right,
things like that. I do know that the land trust is looking at doing a prescribed burn on one of their properties,
Mhm.
but that's not, well, it is for fire prevention, but it's also to clear out underbrush and kind of create
habitat.
habitat. So it's, kind of twofold for that, but they're only looking at one property.
Right, it's not like a holistic.
Yeah, it isn't a town-wide situation. I know we have a tree warden. I believe I sent you his info. Um, but I honestly don't know what his roles and responsibilities are.
My conflicting thoughts are, on one hand, I would love to have, it doesn't even necessarily have to be us three sitting here developing a forest management plan. I wouldn't necessarily expect all of us to be experts on every practice of forestry. There are obviously plenty of resources, whether that's DEM, whether using just an existing one, DEM, your eye has been doing a lot of work with that.
Mhm.
That's actually what the Rhode Island article is about, is how much they're trying to study that for Rhode Island. But on the other hand, I also don't know how much personnel Coventry would even have at its disposal to carry out a plan.
My opinion would be zero.
Right. That's what I'm like.
I mean,
We have a tree warden, but do we want him to go
and I don't know,
lumberjack?
I don't know how the tree warden gets paid, whether he gets a yearly stipend or whether when he gets called in, has to go out on a site to check for infestation or a tree being snapped off, and how does he cut it down? How does he protect things? Whether he gets paid by the job, I don't know. I don't know. Do you know?
I do not.
Now, on a personnel idea, just spitballing here, depending on what kind of actions we're talking about, I wouldn't expect some volunteers to do a prescribed burn, but
Hmm.
High schoolers, college students, volunteers of any kind, you could probably get some groups together for like a walkthrough in a trail, and hey, we're gonna clear out these X amount of invasives or clear out some underbrush.
Mhm.
That's so that would be easy for volunteers. That could be an option, but at the same time, I also don't know how far, like, again, a lot of this does involve like prescribed burning, heavy machine, not necessarily heavy machinery always, but like a lot of
Mhm.
proper tool use, and it's like,
Yeah.
high schoolers to.
I'm sure the town would be resistant to high schoolers going out with chainsaws.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why.
So I'm like, So, Josh, do you think we could get the the guy who's involved with this in, or the woman? who's
The
involved?
tree warden,
Tree warden?
I can certainly
Can you reach out to him?
invite them, yeah,
Yeah, see if you could come in for the May meeting.
sure.
I'd love to meet him.
Guess that would be the closest the town has to a management plan,
Yeah, I think that's it.
or whatever else is in the comprehensive plan around forest
I'd love to,
management.
but I mean, I'd love to trigger his brain and see what he thinks.
Yeah.
Or we could direct that may be beneficial financially to him, which would be something that if I were him and I got paid by the job, I'd probably love to come in and talk to us and tell him what we're thinking, and maybe he could help us, to do this, and we could, get it done, so. You know, I think it would be something worth talking about with them. Would be, seem like something we could put our, you know. Put our fingers on, I think. And then you also may find out that he's non-existent. And he, like, I remember a discussion about one 10 or 15 years ago, and the guy said, I hadn't been the tree warden for 10 years. I was like, okay. You know, maybe the town doesn't have an active tree warden, which, if that's true, then we need to put that out. And, you know, it would be worth knowing. Any other thoughts on that, Miles?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Anybody else?
I'm gonna double check the comprehensive plan and see what's in there.
Okay.
I haven't read it in a while.
New business for discussion or action? I have a little bit I'd like to talk about. I'm a little concerned about what we do and how we don't get a lot done. And I'd like to get more people on this board, so we have more brain power, more thinking. So hopefully Joanne Amatrano gets back to me in reference to the two people who signed up for the land trust, but were not selected. I was hoping you were gonna do something on the town website looking for members.
Yeah, I believe, if I recall correctly, I pinged Joanne as well.
Yeah.
On that, and if the two people, the plan I had was if the two people that applied for the land trust did not pan out for us, then I was going to put an ad out.
I think we should put the ad out.
Put an
anyways.
ad out anyway?
Absolutely,
Yeah, I agree with that.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think we are limited to 7 people, Josh,
5.
5.
Yeah.
That's it,
Doesn't make it hard to find new people though.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe we can change that also. Town council changed theirs from 5 to 7. I'd love to see more
Yeah.
people come on this. If you could figure out how we can do that, maybe we need to put in something to the town council. I think it would be beneficial to have, you know, odd number is best. You always break a tie. That's important, really important. So could you look into that, Josh?
Sure.
Thanks. Second thing is, I'm interested from a standpoint of development in town. That we have major developments coming in that are gonna have effects, far-reaching effects that. I'm not sure everybody understands the far-reaching effects. All the way from environmental things to traffic things to education things, all kinds of aspects that are coming at us. We are gonna limit ourselves to environmental things. I would like to call the developer who's developing 666 Arnold Road, center of New England. I'd like to have them come in and be up here before us. And I checked with the assistant town manager, and she said, you can always do that, Jerry, always. So I would like them to come in and explain to us their development from an environmental standpoint.
Okay.
Unless somebody has a reason that they wouldn't like to hear that. It would take some time, it would make for a longer meeting. But even if we don't have any of this, and we just have them that night, I think it's worthwhile. And I think it's also worthwhile that they realize that we may want to have some input into what they do from an environmental standpoint. So Josh, I'm giving you your homework for this week.
Mhm.
That's a big one for me. I want to feel a sense of like accomplishment. And I want us to see how a developer plans these things. And, you know, they can bring in their engineer, they can bring in their surveyor, they can bring in themselves, or bring in their plans. And I think, we need to do what Tom started to do. And that when we do that, we need to then complete a document on our recommendations.
Hmm.
And get it to the town planning board. There's some, Maria said, Jerry, do you expect the planning board to reach out to you? I said, I've never had that happen yet, so that would be an oddity. Said it's always been that we've reached out to them. And hence, I would like them to come in here and I'd like to talk to the developer. So unless somebody's got problems with that, I would like to put that in motion for as much as we can on developments. As much as we can.
I absolutely agree with
So
that.
everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah. No, okay. Is she sick?
She had a work-related function tonight.
Have to have a job, huh, Miles?
Well,
Sorry.
a lawyer is a little
No, I think your job's important.
No, time intensive I was going for.
I think your job's time intensive.
Yeah, but also I don't have to go to any
Yet,
what see I don't work in law. My dad does, but I don't.
yet,
What are they called?
Depositions?
Yeah, I don't have to do
Yeah.
anything like that. So I'd say I have a pretty clear schedule in comparison.
in comparison, I'll give you that one. Any other things? Tom?
I had one.
Yep.
So I think with this resolution 202508, which was passed last night for weed abatement.
Yep.
That all 4 lake associations benefited from. And the amount of time that it took the town to actually get to the approval of the resolution, which was 3 meetings
I was thinking
and
the same thing.
6 weeks. And our input into the process through the town council, I think it's become apparent to the council that their lake assets in the town have been ignored for many years. And it's the associations that are keeping them afloat.
Right.
And with that, and now owning Johnson's Pond, and now approval of 2 lake management plans
Mhm.
in the town. So Upper Dam Pond and Tiogue Lake were approved, granted by RIDEM for lake management plans. The iron is hot, so to speak, around lake management.
Yeah.
Especially in the town council's eyes.
I agree.
So with that said, we may be able to build momentum, and this was actually talked about briefly by Hillary, the president,
Yep.
during one of these meetings on 202508, is that the town council needs to be more in touch with and working more with the lake associations that are taking care of the lake assets for the town. So there should be some kind of connection between them on a regular basis.
Mhm.
So whether that's a 2-way, that's the 4 presidents or associates to them or a designee, or whether that might be one of the Coventry Conservation Commission's duties, to work with the lake associations and bring that as their appointee to the town council on a regular basis.
Does the planning board appear before the town council ever? I've never seen it, so.
I don't, well, I've never seen it, but I can't imagine, well, maybe Doug
Never
is
seen
there
it.
on their behalf. I've seen Doug there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and talking about plans.
Okay.
So, I don't know why the planning commission doesn't appear before the town council.
I don't either.
Would seem to be a logical thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think it would be, while the iron's hot, get in front of the town council more often about managing lakes.
I have a question for you. Your lake is small. The lake management on yours would be fairly simple. Lake Tiogue, on the other hand, not so simple. Does the lake management plan for Lake Tiogue include the developments at the center of New England? And any of the developments around, or is it strictly limited to the shoreline effect and direct infalls?
So I can't cite the 9 elements of the plan, but there are 9 elements. Do you know them yet?
No.
You will. Do you know Katie DeGoosh?
No, do not.
Oh, okay. Good resource to know.
Yeah.
Around lake management. But if stormwater control and its flow into lakes is one of them,
Right.
which it is,
Yep.
I'm sure of it,
It's gotta be.
then that would be within the parameter of a lake management plan. Now, it may not dictate what you guys do in the center of New England,
Right,
but it will dictate what comes into the lake
right.
at that point.
Oh.
Just like all of that homes around,
Yeah.
what are you doing from fertilizing your lawns
Right.
to geese management to
Yeah.
cesspools and septic systems, all of that. But I would think if they're not gonna control center of New England, but they will be able to control what actually comes into the lake
Mm.
at that point,
Which means that you're controlling somewhat.
because
of
that's working
the
upstream. Yeah, you're
the-
working upstream for that.
Maria said, one of the things that, if you looked at the town council notes from the other evening, she has A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, and there's one called N that's not on there, and she's got to bring it to the council next month, or whenever they meet again, that basically N is a analysis of the entire watershed associated with center of New England. And so, but it would, I don't know if these go chronologically on importance, or just that they're listed as items that she thinks need consideration in the town. So, but she was pretty excited when she was talking to me about it, that I want to make sure I say it correctly. We're being recorded. That basically, it doesn't do any good to know what Miles is doing, or what Tom is doing, or what Josh is doing. We need to know what happens from all of you, because you all affect the outflow from the watershed. And she would like to have that almost like a global plan. And when you put in your site, that you said you were gonna have 5,050 square feet of impervious surfaces, and you put in 9,000, how did it affect my watershed and the outfall into the receiving streams, water bodies, whatever it happens to be? So that would be a great thing to have. About, what's going on with the lake. For you up on 116 has an effect.
Mhm.
I don't know about, Middle Dam. Pond.
116 as well,
116.
because Regent Street
Yeah.
is a
Right.
dead end, a prime.
So anyways, that's something that Maria is going to add in there. And she was pretty excited when she was talking about it, that, this would be a great thing to have. And it is, it's a great thing. It's like having a zoning plan and saying, oh, yeah, somebody wants to, do this. Oh, yeah, it doesn't fit the zoning. Okay, what do we do there? So anyways, hopefully she gets that stuff going. Hopefully. So, what else? Anything? Miles?
Go
Josh?
ahead.
What are we missing, Josh? Anything?
Unless there are future item agendas for April 9th.
I think these continue to be boilerplate, all
Mhm.
the things we've talked about and added in there. If, is 666 Arnold Road in with development plans?
Nope.
Okay, if they come in, how do we get them to come in? How do we get that developer to come in? Yeah,
My first thought is I wonder if we have to wait for them to actually submit something.
maybe, Yep. Would seem to make sense.
Yeah,
But I don't want them to submit something. And then we end up not being able to get a
It
hold
goes
of it.
right to the planning
Right,
commission.
yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
and then it
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
right to the.
Cause I
planning
think that's
commission
what's
and-
happening today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, so,
There is a missing step there.
right, it's so, you know, maybe you need to talk to Doug about the fact that we would like the step to come here first. It can go concurrently. It doesn't have to be Conservation Commission, Owning Board, Planning Board. It doesn't have to do that. But it can happen at the same time.
Mhm.
And hopefully our meeting is before the planning board. But if it's not, that's okay. We can utilize what they learn.
yeah.
I just think that this is such we've got major developments coming in, major developments. So I think it's appropriate. So you tell me how we do it. Again, another one of your homework problems. I
Yep.
guess.
I will get back to you.
That's all I can ask for.
Hmm.
If you need me to come in, I got no problem with that. I will, what else, boys, men?
Good.
Exciting times in Coventry. Maria is quite the asset. If you don't know her, go introduce yourself to her. And I think she's got a lot on the ball, and I think she'll be very helpful to us. And if we do get 666, because I think that's the next one that's in process, or at least I would guess that it is. I would love it if she could be here.
Mhm.
So I would request her to be here for it. And will they be able to hook right up to the monitor? So,
I don't think so, but let me check on that.
another homework problem.
What's a Zoom call, right? Is this Zoom?
Yes, so I don't know if somebody wanted to hook up their laptop to the screen for eggs.
Oh, you mean it actually came in here?
Yeah, I don't know if they would, the act of plugging in would kick the Zoom recording out.
Got it.
Right.
Off the top of my head, it shouldn't, but
Yeah, I mean, I believe the camera and the microphone are connected directly to the computer. So in theory, we could disconnect the screen, and the only thing that would happen is that we wouldn't be able to watch it in real time.
Yeah.
yeah, that-
I mean, they're gonna be here. We don't care about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Josh, you've got a lot of homework to do.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make sure Doug pays you double time. Okay. Motion to adjourn the meeting?
make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Right?
Yay. Good meeting, guys. Good meeting. I would love to get a couple more people. I'd love to get it to 7, Josh.
Mhm.
Love to get it to 7. That's a good number.
And I feel like there'd be a lot more possible to, like, obviously the town council, the more of like a. Not that we aren't appointees, but you know what I mean,
Yeah, I did. Council's
council's a lot more,
you know,
Wait until we're
Miles.
off here, hold on.